The 10-team league isn't for everyone, but there's no doubt that one of the advantages is the shortage of meaningless games in the final stretch of the season. Every Premier Division game on Friday matters. Now, it's possible that'll change in the coming weeks, so we have to enjoy it while it lasts. At the top, there's 3 games that have relevance to the destination of the League of Ireland title, and it's pretty difficult to be certain about the outcome of any of them. Leader Shelbourne hosts Sligo Rovers at Talca Park, with Damien Duff and his players hoping that a return home might just get that spark back that they've lost. It's hard to figure out if it's physical or mental fatigue that's afflicted them. Maybe it's just the impact of those mid-season departures, Will Jarvis, Gavin Malloy. But either way, despite all their struggles, despite 1 win in 5, despite a barren period maybe in terms of creating chances, they're still top, and they're in a great position if they can find some level of form. 4 of the next 5 games are at home. Sligo Rovers have won their last 2 meetings, but they've been weakened by the exit of Nando Pinaker. They're a good side on the counter, but I think Shells have to view this as the ideal opportunity to get back in the winning groove. Second place, Derry travel to Drogheda. This is the type of game that has troubled them in recent seasons. Away from home against the team they're expected to beat. 4 of their last 5 trips there have ended in draws, the other a narrow 1-0 victory for Derry. Drogheda are in terrific form. One of the sides that's really found the goal scoring groove this season, particularly in recent weeks, and they're battling for Premier Division survival. Now is the time for Rory Higgins' team to definitively prove that they can grind one out. The best game from an entertainment perspective should be the Dublin derby between Shamrock Rovers and St Patrick's Athletic in Tala. It's got all the ingredients to be a good game. For Rovers, the handbrake is well and truly off. They have to go for it, have to go and win every game between now and the end of the season. But they're up against a team that can hurt them. You could argue that Stephen Kenny's Pats are playing as well as any other team in the country, even though they're 7th. They left themselves with a lot of ground to make up, but they're still going for Europe. And they've had time to prepare for this game. Rovers have had a busy schedule playing Bows on Monday. But this might just be the toughest game that Rovers face on the run-in. If they win this, maybe anything is possible. There should be a highly charged atmosphere in Oriel Park for a number of reasons. Last week, Dundalk fans were fearing that this game wouldn't happen, that the shutters would come down on the old venue before the end of the season. Now, that doomsday has been avoided, and there has been a local rallying cry to use the visit of Bows as a chance to show what the club means to the community. But it's also a big game. Dundalk need 3 points if they're to have any chance of avoiding relegation. Bows, they'd probably prefer to be focusing on next week's cup semi-final, but 2 defeats in a row in the league means they're now looking over their shoulder. They're not safe, and they're going to be under pressure in what's going to be an emotional game, I think, under a number of headings. At the start of the season, you might have thought that the meeting of Waterford and Galway at the RSC would have relevance to the relegation battle, but the promoted duo, they've never looked in trouble at all across the year, really, in terms of relegation. Instead, they're engaged in the welcome stress of battling out for a place in Europe, although that is dependent on Derry City beating Bows in the Cup semi-final next week. There's going to be a lot of teams supporting Derry in that game, or otherwise the race for 4th won't actually matter. Waterford have scored 13 goals more than Galway, but they're 3 points behind them, which gives you an idea of the comparative strengths and weaknesses between those sides. But they're good games everywhere this evening. We're spoiled for choice in terms of storylines, and you can follow all of the action across the night on the Irish Independent.